You know what's truly wild? Most people spend their entire lives working with money, yet they've never actually understood how it functions. Not the textbook definition. I'm talking about the real system, the invisible architecture that decides whether you'll struggle or sleep peacefully at night. Here's the thing. Nobody explains it because the people who benefit most from your ignorance are the ones writing the rules. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how you've been playing a game without ever learning its actual rules. Let me ask you something. What is money? Most people say it's a medium of exchange, a store of value. And that's technically true, but it's incomplete. Because really, money is nothing more than trust. It's a collective agreement that this piece of paper or these numbers on a screen holds value. Fiat currencies like the dollar have no intrinsic worth. Their value depends entirely on public confidence. And that's the first illusion. When you receive a paycheck, you're not receiving wealth. You're receiving a claim on wealth, a promise. The moment people stop believing in that promise, it vanishes. If tomorrow everyone woke up and decided the dollar was worthless, it would be. The government couldn't prevent it. It only works because we all agree that it does. Centuries ago, a small group of people realized that if they could control that agreement, that trust, they could control everything. And so they did. They built banking systems and institutions to make money seem mystical, something you couldn't possibly grasp. And it worked. Most people never question what money actually is. They simply use it. And if they don't have enough, they blame themselves. That's not an accident. That's by design. So let me walk you through how the real system operates. When you deposit money into a bank, the bank doesn't just hold it, it loans it out. This system is called fractional reserve banking, where banks are only required to keep a fraction of their deposits in reserve. But here's the part that will make your brain hurt. The bank lends out money that doesn't yet exist. They create it digitally by issuing loans. Every dollar in the system beyond physical currency is a debt that someone owes to a bank. Think about that. Your salary, the money sitting in your account, a massive portion of it only exists because someone, somewhere, is paying interest on a loan. If they default, that money effectively vanishes from the system. And here's where it gets even darker. The system requires debt to expand. It demands perpetual growth. Why? Because every loan carries interest attached to it. If a bank creates $1 million in loans at 5% interest, it has introduced $1 million into the economy. But it has also created a demand for $1,050,000 to be repaid. Where does that extra $50,000 come from? More loans, more debt. It's a cycle that needs constant expansion just to function. It's not a bug, it's a feature. The people who designed this system understood that most people would rather feel wealthy while living in debt than feel poor while being free. They engineered a culture where debt is considered normal, and the numbers are staggering. The average American household now carries more than $154,000 in debt, and that's just households. The U.S. national debt surged past $37 trillion in 2025, yet most people think it's entirely their own fault. They believe they're just bad with money. But they're not bad with money. They're playing a game where the rules were written by people who win every time they lose.
The first step to changing any game, though, is finally learning how it's played. You might be thinking, okay, the system is built for debt, but I could still opt out, right? I could simply not participate. And technically, you'd be correct. You could. But the system has built-in layers of psychological hooks designed to ensure most of us never even try. First, there's the status effect. Money isn't just about survival anymore. It's about signaling that you've made it. And the system has ensured that the way you signal that is by consuming expensive things. The house, the car, the phone that costs more than a month's rent. You weren't born craving these things with this level of intensity. You were conditioned to want them through advertising, social media, and the people around you. And the most brilliant part? This system lets you have them before you can afford them. That's what debt is. It's time travel for consumption. You get to feel prosperous today and pay for it over the next 30 years. But here's what's truly terrifying. While you're paying, you can't afford to take risks. You can't quit the job you despise. You can't launch a business. You're trapped, not in chains, but in comfort. The people at the top of this system rely on exactly that. They know that people burdened by debt are predictable and controllable. So they create financial products specifically designed to confuse you and extract fees. Overdraft charges, sky-high annual percentage rates, credit card minimums engineered to keep you paying interest indefinitely. It's not complicated by accident. It's complicated on purpose. Because when you don't understand the system, you blame yourself when you fail within it. And when you blame yourself, you don't get angry at the system. Now let me show you how the other half actually lives. The people who genuinely understand money don't use debt the way you do. They use it as a deliberate tool. Here's the distinction. When you borrow money, you borrow to consume. You buy a car, take a vacation. Your debt rises, but your assets remain unchanged. When a wealthy person borrows money, they borrow to invest. They acquire property, launch a business, or purchase stocks. Their debt rises too, but their assets grow faster. And here's the key insight. The interest they pay is often tax deductible. So while you're paying interest with after-tax dollars, they're using a tax advantage to fund their investments. It's the exact same tool, but when you use it, it traps you. When they use it, it enriches them. This is where compound interest becomes the most powerful force in all of finance. Not on your debt, but on their assets. If you invest $10,000 at a 10% annual return, after 40 years, you'll have over $450,000. But here's the catch. You need capital first in order to invest, and the system ensures that most people are far too busy servicing debt to ever reach that point. Wealthy individuals often begin with generational wealth. That gives them a significant head start. By the time they're 30, their assets are already generating income. Meanwhile, the average person is just beginning to get ahead in their 50s right as they need to prepare for retirement. The math was never designed to work in your favor. So here's what I need you to understand. Knowing how the system operates doesn't magically free you from it, but it does something far more important. It allows you to stop blaming yourself for being caught inside it. And that shift changes everything. Because once you understand the game, you can begin making different choices. Not perfect choices, but different ones. You can decide you don't need to signal wealth you don't possess.
You can decide you don't need to consume what you can't afford. You can't opt out of the system entirely, but you can opt out of playing it exactly the way it intends. You probably won't become a billionaire, but you could build a life where money serves you instead of the other way around. And that isn't nothing. That's everything. So now you know how money truly works. The question is, what are you going to do with that knowledge? That part is entirely up to you. If you found this eye-opening or want to explore more untold truths about finance, hit the subscribe button below. New videos come out every week, breaking down the systems that shape your everyday life. The more you understand, the stronger your chances of winning at this game. That next episode might be the one that changes everything for you. So don't miss it. Thanks for watching.